Grows up in small town Iowa, has big dreams of rock and roll, and yeah, he's living them out. He's living his dreams. It's incredible. All of this talent, and he's a really, really good guy. Man, I think that you're absolutely going to dig this. This is going to be such a fun time. I want to introduce you to my buddy Brandon. Just before we do that, I want to let you guys know there's a little bit of background noise, and this isn't necessarily the best audio. So, just bear with us. Regardless, I think that this is going to come across just fine. So, without further ado, here's my interview with Brandon Gibbs. Enjoy. Well, all right. I'm hanging out here with Brandon Gibbs. Dude, where are you these days, man? How's it going?
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me on. Right now I'm in Iowa. I have a home in Iowa. After Devil City Angels got signed, the travel increased for me, and I had at the time a baby, and my now wife, and I wanted to give her the upbringing that I had, which was around grandmas and grandpas and cousins.
Sure enough.
And the only thing I needed really was to be by an airport, and we achieved that. And so I'm a Midwest boy, proud Midwest boy, actually.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I record in Tennessee, and I hub out of Iowa, and it's pretty simple over here.
Well, that's crazy, man, because, I mean, your story is, just stop me if you've heard this one before. But Midwestern guy has these big rock and roll dreams, you know what I mean? And Midwest boy done good. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about that upbringing, man. Tell me about how you discovered the music and, how you knew this is what you wanted to do.
Well, I mean, it was my parents and the majority of my family played musical instruments. My mom and dad had a little country band, and they would, they'd play twice a week, and I was always helping, carrying gear, and then I would eventually fall asleep on the stage. They would do four 1-hour sets, and so I was just super interested. I loved gear. I loved the way the gear looked, the choruses, the songs, and eventually I had the courage to ask my dad. I said, I would like to see if I could work a deal with you to get an electric guitar. Well, the first time he bought me a bass, it was a swing and a miss. And so my twin brother and I, who later became the Gibbs brothers, we finally, got guitar and drums, and were just engulfed in a huge passion for music. And so I had grandma and grandpa and mom and all these, these wonderful influences in my life pushing me to do what I want to do for a living. I never had any naysayers. And so it just kind of snowballed from there. My sister sings. She doesn't do it for a living. She doesn't want to. She goes out on the road with me from time to time.
Yeah, wow.
Beautiful singer, beautiful voice. Excuse me. And then it was in our family. There was no way to escape it.
Now you were saying that you're a twin.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow, man. True. Yeah. So I remember because I'm living in the Midwest as well, and I remember those stories of the Gibbs brothers, and a lot of the kind of blues rock and stuff like that. Killing guitar player.
Oh, thank you.
Stuff like that, and so where is your brother these days?
Brent is he got out of the music business about 12, 13 years ago, and became a police officer. Which
wow.
I tell it, when I go out on the road with like Joel Hoekstra of Whitesnake, I have a section in the show where I do speak about Brent and about his law enforcement, law enforcement experience that I witnessed that kind of changed my perspective on what he does. And he's a very, very respected officer, and he's a fan of mine, which means a lot. And I miss him every day, on the drums and songwriting. But he's right where he needs to be, and he pushes me, and I push back. It's a really good relationship.
Oh man, I mean, you touched with doing some stuff with Joel and whatnot. But before we get into that, I am intrigued just by something that you just said, that you had a section of the show where you would talk about your brother.
Yeah.
And how, I guess, what he's doing has really changed your life. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So I was out with the half of Cinderella. We had a group, if you remember the 80s band Cinderella.
Absolutely.
I was out with half of them. I had Eric Brittingham and Jeff LaBar, and we formed a group called Cheap Thrill, and we'd play Cinderella tunes and Brandon Gibbs tunes. And excuse me, we had the drummer from Collective Soul, so we would add a Collective Soul song or two. It was a really great, tight package, and we actually toured the world. We toured cruise ships. We toured, Europe and just and all over, the USA, but in Canada. Well, we were going through Iowa. We had a show or a run of shows that brought us through Iowa, and ironically, when we would come through Iowa, at the time I was living in Nashville, and so were they. And we would come through Iowa. I'd always call two people, my grandmother and my brother. I'd call my grandma because we needed a place to stay. And it was so funny because she absolutely loved housing these guys. She met so many what people call rock stars, I guess, and They all slept in her little house, and she made bacon and eggs for them. It was a time of our lives. But I called my brother and I said, "Hey man, I'd like to see what you're doing and experience a little bit. I know those things they call ride-alongs.
Right.
Yeah. And it's acceptable. And can I qualify or ask to do one?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Why don't you come to the agency in Fort Madison, 7 a.m., hop in and we'll just see what happens." And he cleared it with the higher ups. And so I was out cruising in a cop car and that's kind of cool. And the day went on and nothing happened. The day went on, nothing happened. Maybe a stop sign, something, violation or whatever. Right. And I thought, well, shit, man. I said, well, we really have a good time being in a band, and I don't really understand why you're tied to this now. And all of a sudden that call came in, and there was like a 7-year-old walking across the street, and she was physically struck by a vehicle.
Oh my God. Right.
And so I hear this over the radio, and he looked at me. He's like, "Well, you can get out now if you don't want to see this." And I said, "Well, I came here to really see what you do." And anyways, crowd of people around this young lady who's having the worst day of her life. And no one really knows what to do. She wants her parents. And it was the hottest day of the year, by the way. It was so hot. So, him vest and everything. He goes through there sweating, and he held her hand, and he spoke with her, and he gave her a promise: "You're going to see your parents, and I'm going to make sure that you get to where you can get some help, and your parents are going to be there. I'm a police officer." And I think he said a little prayer with her, and she, it was like at that moment, her pain went away. She trusted that guy. She trusted the dude with the badge and the promise, and it just meant so much to me. And then afterwards, they get her in the ambulance, and he said his goodbyes. "I'm going to meet you at the hospital. I'm going to deliver that promise. You're going to talk to your parents." And then he went back to his squad car and just kind of put his head in his hands like this. And I asked him, "I get it." I didn't ask him. I said, "I get it. I totally get it. And what you did was outstanding. It was outside of amazing. It was you took her eyes off her mangled leg, and she trusted you." And that kind of sealed the deal for me with law enforcement. I'm a dad, and it's just nice to know that if the possibility of the worst day ever for our children happens, that we have people like him and other officers that would do that.
Oh man, that's powerful. And I too, I'm a father as well. And actually today is my daughter's first birthday.
Happy first birthday.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go, Elise. Happy birthday, baby. But Yeah, that's powerful because again, I'm a father as well to a little girl, and so
Yeah.
as you're telling the story, I'm thinking about her and what if that was her, and man, I thank you so much for sharing that. That's deep and that's powerful.
Oh,
That's
you bet.
real powerful, man.
Well,
And
I'd like to thank my bandmates for letting me share that. I'm I'm just so, I don't try and roll through the show with one after another, so to speak. I actually like to connect, and I like to connect more often than not as a father and as a parent. And you just see the people kind of going, I feel it, I get it,
right.
and I thank them for letting me share that story each night instead of just plowing through the set.
That's awesome, and that's a great way to connect. That's very real. It's very honest. It's very vulnerable.
Thank you.
And I think that's such a really beautiful trait that you have, and it comes across very much in your music, I think. So, for those of you that know Brandon, you guys are going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and for those of you that don't, check this out. He is one of those guys who's the singer, songwriter, guitar player. But when I tell you about a songwriter, this guy is a songwriter. He is incredible. Has a wonderful voice. Killing guitar player, man. Yeah, dude. So tell me about how you came to songwriting. How did you, your melodies, your voice, stuff like that. I mean, you got a real gift, man. You got a real gift. Tell me about how you came to discover this gift of songwriting.
Well, thank you for your kind words, and you have no idea how much they mean to me. I'm very grounded these days, and I just appreciate every kind thing someone says, and I will take that energy and say something else to somebody. You made my night by that. Just
thanks,
to let you know. So songwriting was in the Gibbs brothers. It was my brother's gift, to be honest. I was the melody guy. I would roll the melody on the guitar. I'd come up and I'd say, "You have to dance around this. So write lyrics to this." And he would, and it was pretty cool little arrangement. Well, after 10 years of that, at 22, 24, something like that, when that band ended, I just trusted Brent with, his name's Brent. I trusted him with that area. That was our workflow. And I just had to pick up the pieces after he moved on.
So it was a necessity kind of thing.
Well, it was either that or just kind of give up the dream of playing music. I didn't want to be necessarily, after the Gibbs brothers were done, I didn't really want to be in another group. I didn't want to just jump into something. I wanted to explore what I had. I wasn't very confident though, and I actually just wrote a story on Facebook earlier about Chris Cornell and how I heard one song. I just was talking about him going, "When I'm down." Anyways, he did this song, him on the piano, and I was in a bad spot. I didn't know if I was going to play music again. I just loved what I was doing so much, and I heard it, and I thought, it's just him and a piano, and he's singing with such conviction. Mm-hmm. And his lyrics are honest, and they're not normal lyrics that you hear. They sometimes don't necessarily rhyme. They sometimes fall on an odd time signature, but he's singing it with just another person, and or maybe just him and his guitar.
Sure.
And I thought, if you can deliver a message like that, or deliver a performance like that with just your guitar, then why do I need someone to accept me into a band? Why can't I start writing my own story?
Right.
And it was just like that. That changed my life, and I went in and started buying recording sessions and singing more. And next thing I know, ESPN took one of my songs.
Right on.
And by accident, by the way. It's funny. Well, it's not by accident for me, but for the other person. There was a song called "This Town" that I wrote, and I essentially wrote it about my time in I don't live in Burlington, Fort Madison area anymore, which is where I grew up, southeast corner of Iowa. But I had a good time there, and the best times I had was when I stopped worrying so much and would go out on like John boats, and my friends would pick me up in their cars, and we'd go off dirt road, and we'd stop, have a beer. Those are the best times, and I forgot about how much I love that, and I wrote this song about that. Well, Courtney Force from John Force Racing, we had some mutual friends, and she was racing at the time, and she made a funny workout video, right, for her to race this man, and she just used one of my songs. She used this down. Now it was just a YouTube video of her working out, and like it was cute. It was, and anyways, I thought, well, that's really great. Some other Brandon got a message that, hey, we really like your song from ESPN. We really like your song This Town. And this guy had no idea. Someone got a mix-up. Well, I was in Atlanta with Cinderella bassist Eric Brittingham. We had a show there, and I got a call on the way home back to Nashville that ESPN wants your song. And they finally figured out who wrote it. And
that's awesome. That's so good.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, man, it was like my now wife and I were at a little sports bar, and I was doing shows. Just got to Nashville, I was doing shows, and then all of a sudden you see, this blast of a dragster going down the road, and you see brought to you by Brandon Gibbs, and there's really no going back after that.
I guess not. I guess
like,
not.
Maybe I can do this. I don't know.
Absolutely, and just to think, and it's interesting to me because you brought up Chris Cornell and you brought up that particular song When I'm Down. That whole record was incredible.
Was it Euphoria Morning?
Yes, it was Euphoria Morning.
So I can get that right, but I can't remember the song.
So Euphoria Morning was just, it was amazing. Everybody, it really is. Everybody was they knew him from Soundgarden. They knew the whole Temple of the Dog thing.
Right.
They didn't really know that side of him, and that guy had so many layers, so many levels, and
absolutely.
And I've always found him very fascinating just because of that. He can get as rocking as the next guy, or he can get so deep and move you like he did with you, and when he did When I'm Down. It's incredible. It's such a loss, man. Such a sad loss. And so we have Chris Cornell to thank for you to come out of your shell and do your thing.
Yeah.
So tell me about this now. So we're kind of coming into Brandon Gibbs, the solo guy, but you also you've had some amazing collaborations. You've had obviously the latest one is the Campfire Tour with Joel Hoekstra.
Right.
And you also had Cheap Thrill, and you also had the Devil City Angels. How did all of this come about? Just, post Chris Cornell, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm hanging out with my brother. My brother's not there anymore.
Right.
And ESPN finds the right Brandon.
Yeah, they do. They find the right. Well, it just, I wasn't afraid, and I wasn't afraid to knock on doors. I had toured with Eric Brittingham slightly in the past. The Gibbs brothers had opened up for Cinderella a few times, and Poison several times. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just call my friends. I text with these guys all the time, but we're just not on the same wavelength. And I call them, hey, you know what? This is what I'm doing. Do you want to do it? And the first was Jeff LaBar, the late great Jeff LaBar.
God, man, I miss that guy too. Yeah,
absolutely. And Eric Brittingham, and we put together the band, and we didn't really have any expectations other than going out, having fun, and playing shows. We wanted to play shows. That was the deal. It wasn't so much recording. It was, we wanted to go out and perform live, and we did. And we toured like it was ridiculous. After Cheap Thrill kind of hit a plateau, and maybe it was more me than them, I wanted to establish just a little bit better of a recording career. And, because it's, you can front a group but the music that you make stays here on Earth when you go. You know what I mean? And I always keep that in the back of my head. Well, we put Cheap Thrill to rest for a while. Everyone did. And my parents came over to Nashville. They were in Nashville visiting. And I came out to the car, and I was going to take them down to Broadway and just show them around, which I enjoyed doing. And I told them, I said, you know what, I'm not doing Cheap Thrill. I made a decision. And I just remember the silence in the vehicle. And really? Then no one spoke. I went back in the house. I go, I got to get my cell phone. I left it in the house. I go in the house, grab my cell phone. I start the car. Before I put it in drive, I just check my messages. And Ricky Rocket had sent me a message from Poison. And he said, you, me, Tracy Guns, let's talk. And I said, oh, what are we thinking? He goes, well, let's talk. So jumped on a phone call. They wanted to create a group and have me sing and play guitar. They were itching to get out. Poison had some things where Brett was going this way, and essentially Ricky just wanted to make music.
Right.
And so we got together, and then we decided that it would be best to bring Eric Brittingham, because of our history, to play bass. Great choice, and a dear friend of mine. We flew to LA, and we started plinking around in the studio, and just getting to know each other. It was like 4 days of that. We took one photo, and all of a sudden we got a call from a record company that was interested, and we're like, yeah, well, we'll let you know what we come up with. We went out on tour. And we were just going to go have fun. We played the song. We recorded 2 songs. I believe it was All My People, which is former Gibbs Brothers song. We redid it. And then a song called No Angels. And we went on tour. We just jumped on a bus and started going out and making our way. And the importance of that was to get to know each other better.
How cool.
Well, during that tour, we got signed by Century Media. And so after the tour, we came home to make the Devil City Angels record. And self-titled Devil City Angels record. Once we got off tour and the record came out, there's a little lull, and I got asked to go sing for a group called the Special Guests, which was all of Poison minus Bret Michaels. So I was
you were Bret.
Essentially, yeah. And it was a very, very humbling experience, because those are large shoes to fill.
Sure.
And so we did that in 2015. I did their shows, and let's see here. Then I got a solo record deal, as a writer and whatnot. And so I've been doing Brandon Gibbs, and I've been doing collaborations still as well. I just got my I just try and surround myself with just fun, interesting people that make me happy. And hopefully I make happy.
Sure.
I'm not trying to win the universe over. I just want to write great songs, hopefully great songs that resonate and that come from my heart. And so that's a little bit of where everything's how everything started.
How would you describe your music?
I grew up on country, blues, a little bit of gospel, and rock came later. So my music's a little bit more mainstream. It's a little bit, I draw from classic rock influences. I draw from some of that gospel world, and then I draw from blues. And it seems to go almost like anybody can listen to it and get something out of it. So I don't know the term mainstream well enough, but I think it's right down the middle.
Sure.
And that's the best way. And it may not be for somebody. Maybe it's a little too preachy for somebody. But the fact is, I'm just trying to say that I'm thankful. And for, a lot of people are scared to say they're thankful. I am not. I know where everything happened and how it happened. And so I just tend to write about it.
Your candor, the way that you present yourself, your vulnerability, your genuine self really comes through, man. I mean, it's a pleasure, just talking with you and hearing about this, and then going and digging into, into your catalog. So yeah, man, I want to go ahead and play one of your songs right now. Could you please tell us a little bit about Lost Boys?
Lost Boys, yes, sir. Lost Boys happened during the pandemic. We were losing all kinds of artists. Tom Petty, we lost, Eddie Van Halen. We lost so many people. I mean, and some of that might be outside the timeline, but we also lost, the artists lost an audience, and the fans lost their artists. We all were disconnected for the first time in I don't know how long, right? And during this, you see riots on TV, and you see all this, and I was just like, I've been doing this for so long. I've never felt so unconnected with an audience. And I feel like the audience, these people work blue collar, they buy tickets, and that is their jam. And we can no longer come see them. I just felt disconnected. And like I say in the song, All Our Kings Have Gone Home, left to wander all alone. I learned to play so I'd be saved. Hey, can you hear me from the grave? I'm hollering at Stevie. I'm hollering at everyone. Hey, I'm lost. And so that's the song.
Wow, man. That's heavy. And we're going to check it out right now. Lost Boys by Brandon Gibbs.
Move from them fighting for your protection. Smoke moves in every way in your direction. Make way for these changes. They stop our lights and burn down our stages. People hang on in the storm and some weather. I keep hearing our lives are gonna change for the better. Who's in charge? There's a man on the scene. People living out loud, no one ever coming clean. All our kings have gone home, left to walk here all alone. I learned to play so I'd be safe. Can you hear me from the grave? Don't wanna be a lost boy again. I don't wanna be a lost boy again. The air burns with prosecution. Flares fly while we sink with no solution. Dead man walking with the hope to get high. Make it lady proud, keeping reaching for the sky. A bruised bare knuckles gonna hit him on the chin. I see you ain't doing nothing if you let your ass in. Yeah! Don't wanna be a lost boy again. I don't wanna be a lost boy again. Don't wanna be a lost boy again. I don't wanna be a lost boy again. before these changes stop our lights and burn down our stages.
That is such a killer tune.
Thank you.
You have so many sides to you as well. Now you can call it mainstream, but you have a definite rock and roll sound. You show your influences quite well, yet you create something that is still very, very you and very, very unique. So I dig it, man.
That's the goal, brother. I mean, I can't ride off of, previous things. I have to do what I got to do, and it's a different road. A lot of people know the people I played with. There's a lot of people that are still not sure who I am.
Right.
And to tackle that is, that's a job, and I'm up for it. And the only payoff is, honest to God, the only payoff is I just want, when it's my time to go, I want my daughter to be able to go to the record collection and go, that's Dad. That's all.
Right. You touched on something just now, and, it might be the elephant in the room in a sense. You have these guys who are well known. They've been around the block. They've had the magazine covers. They've had the videos. And they came around at a time where, it was just, excess and exposure and craziness. And then here's, Midwest, Brandon Gibbs, big heart, real, just a good guy, right? How do you feel in that position where you are working with these guys who have the name, if you will, and here you are, just like you said, sometimes you'd be feeling, some really big shoes, or just sharing the stage with people like that.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, and what do you do to, I guess, put your best foot forward, if you will?
Well, the first thing I do is, when I'm asked to sing for any group or play for any group, is I'm not going to replicate who they previously have been with, at all. I'm not doing a play. It's going to be me, and it's going to sound like me doing the best I can to help, their song. And I think that has been a wise choice for me. It'd be very, very easy for me to throw on a cowboy hat and a bandana and strut like Mr. Michaels has perfected already. And I didn't do that. And I won't. I think I became a little bit known for bringing it, but doing it authentically. And so it's just a tip of the hat to the guys I'm standing on stage with, but also not being disrespectful to a singer who, might hear it later. It's so I you look around, you go, oh, this is pretty damn cool. This is awesome. All right, now I'm going to handle myself like a pro and not act. I'm going to be legit. So.
Right. Well, it seems like the respect is definitely there from the guys in the band, knowing that they have what they have and knowing that they chose you, man.
Everyone's been really great. Everyone's been super great. I have never had to ask to do a project, which, knock on wood, I've never asked. I've been asked. And that goes a long ways for me. And in return, I will do whatever I can to help those guys out that have helped me out.
That's wonderful, man.
And they know that. And even Brett Michaels asked me to, his guitar player needed to fill in. And I had already been playing with the other guys. And I just said, yeah. I said, I love Brett. He's a friend of mine. And so there's, it was kind of a brotherhood. I just want to help out the way people have helped me out. That's it.
That's awesome, man. And again, you got just a really good head on your shoulders, and the respectfulness, man, that goes so far.
I was in martial arts when I was a kid. My dad put me in martial arts, and he was in martial arts. And I just remember any time I didn't make eye contact, or any time I shook a hand and looked down, or any time I said, yeah, It wasn't yeah. It was yes, sir. And thank you. And I credit a lot of that. It just comes. I don't know how else to talk to somebody that I don't know other than please and thank you. And I credit that to martial arts, because I was no, it's not it's yes, sir, yes, man.
Right. Between martial arts and just having a good old upbringing, that's kind of what it seems like. It seems like your family is very, very, they raised you well. They raised you right,
At the same time, they're all batshit crazy. We have so much fun. We pick on each other. We're the type of family that, you can jack with that guy for just about this long. But, I'll get involved at some point if it goes too far. But I'm going to jack with that guy till the cows come home.
Right on.
My brother, my dad, we go nuts on each other. So it's a pretty cool little family we got.
And, well, tell me about some of the influences that you have, because, again, you're a tremendous singer and a tremendous guitar player. So, let's go ahead and start with guitar. Who do you look at as, guitar heroes?
Well, Stevie Ray Vaughan was a big influence. He changed my life, actually. I never heard someone play with so much aggression, but so much passion and gentleness when he needed to. B.B. King, anytime he played a note, you knew it was him.
Right.
His phrasing, he didn't have to be all up and down the fretboard. He could just talk to you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously Chris Cornell was a big one. My brother actually got me into rock and roll. I was going to be a blues star. I swear to God I was going to be. It was Stevie Ray. It was the Allman Brothers, Hendrix, Clapton, Buddy Guy, and then Brent, my brother, got me into rock and roll. So I wish I could have experienced more of some of the things I've seen with him, but everyone has their own path, and I do thank him for getting me into rock and roll a bit.
I'm going to take a little break from my conversation with Brandon Gibbs to tell you a little bit about Partake Brewing. Hey, y'all, before we get back into this interview with Brandon, I just want to let you guys know that I am truly sorry. I apologize for the audio quality of this program today. It's not necessarily up to the standard that we have here, but this interview was so cool. And I'm going to also tell you that coming up on this next part of the interview, you're going to hear Brandon's connection gets a little funky because he actually had to go and plug in his phone. So please forgive us this time around. And I hope that you enjoy this conversation because he is such an interesting and awesome dude. So let's just go ahead, get back into this conversation with my friend Brandon Gibbs.
And then vocally, I just love the way Greg. Are you an Allman Brothers fan?
I am.
So, the Allman Brothers. Again, I go back to the GOAT, Chris Cornell.
Right.
Steven Tyler. Anybody that pushes, that pushes their voice. What's that cat from The Darkness? Justin Hawkins.
Oh my gosh, that dude's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. It's so outside the box that I would just kind of keep my ear to the ground. Like, I'm not going to just sing in one key. I'm going to change keys. Every song is going to be different. It's not going to be comfortable for me, but as an audience, you're going to hear that I am trying, in some sort of way to challenge myself. So, yeah.
That's great, man. So we're going to go ahead and listen to your new single right now. It's called Rich for Life. Tell us a little bit about it.
Rich for Life. Okay, so I was contacted by a lady in upstate New York. Her name is Jeanette, and she wanted me to write a song for her specifically to dance with her son at a wedding. And she was very serious about it to the point where she sent me to the studio. I don't do a whole lot of that. That's a very out there request. And
I took on the job, and she was telling me a little bit about her son, how protective he is, how he doesn't like to be in the spotlight, how he just likes to protect his family and see them do well, and he just takes what he can get. And it reminded me a little bit of my father. My father has some issues with his health, but he's still the biggest fan, ever. And he can't go to shows like he used to. And so I thought I could combine the message here and create a thank you to my dad, and also give this woman exactly what she wants for her mother and son dance. And so that's the premise of Rich for Life. It's just a thank you for the all set and sure bet. That's what it is.
Wonderful, man. So here it is, Brandon Gibbs, Rich for Life. Check it out.
Let's take a moment and do this right. This is your time, this is your night. When I am weak, you grow strong. Every hero needs a song. If this was a picture, you'd be the frame. You hold the beauty, you guard our flame. Just a wish unto the skies. You see yourself from my eyes. You're so beautiful by design. And I wanna thank you for the all set and the sure bet. And I wanna thank you for the heartbeat from the backseat. You're the one who fights the rain, so we never feel the pain. Good God, I'm rich for life. Don't you know you rise up? So drink the rum and fill your cup. Let's have a toast, I'll do it too. We'll celebrate all that's you. You mean everything to us. Just so wonderful with your shine. Oh, and I wanna thank you for the onset and the sure bet. And I wanna thank you for the heartbeat from the backseat. I wanna thank you for the show up when it goes down. And I wanna thank you for the backbone in a small town. You're the one who fights the rain, so we never feel the pain. Good God, I'm rich for life. You take this life, write your book, don't give it a second look. No, a second look. Yeah, love so much, you leave a bruise. Trust your heart, you never lose. Oh, you never lose. I wanna thank you for the onset in the sure bet. I wanna thank you for the heartbeat from the backseat. I wanna thank you for the show up when it goes down. And I wanna thank you for the backbone in a small town. If tomorrow I'm coming home, you know I never
So there it is, Rich for Life by Brandon Gibbs, my guest today. Man, that's a beautiful tune. Absolutely. And again, just really, really strong melodic sense, man. The way that you write is fantastic. You're not afraid to really put not just lyrically your heart on your sleeve, but melodically as well. You really have something to say, both musically and with your lyrics. Very strong song, man. Wow.
That means a tremendous amount. That was a work in progress, and the trick is, I guess, for me, is just lowering my shoulders and not trying to be cool, and just being vulnerable, and that has aligned more positive feedback, saying things that people are afraid to say. Occasionally I talk about how I'm thankful, to the Lord for all these blessings. I've had a lot of grieving in my life, and I talk about what these people mean to me, and sometimes you just gotta align those feelings, put them in a song, and it's going to resonate to someone that just doesn't know exactly how to say it. But when they listen to it, it makes sense. And they go, he just said what I feel.
And that's powerful. That's connection. And that's something that you have. So I go back to what we were talking about earlier, about your sense of wanting to connect with your crowd. And you, sir, do it in so many different ways, which is fantastic. Musically, of course, like you said, you have a little something for everybody, right? You just kind of, that's just what you do. You want to connect. And I've seen you on stage, man. I've seen you on stage, and you're a hell of a front man. So, of course, people are going to be drawn to it, man. And you're a great player. So people are going to be drawn to that. So, you definitely have not just the gift of music, but the gift of connection. And if there's something to be thankful for, man, there it is. And I think that you're seeing it, and you acknowledge it. You acknowledge it. I think that you do believe that you have that. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and I'm hearing it with my own ears in this conversation. So it's just a breath of fresh air to hear just somebody who is grateful. Right?
I am grateful. I'm grateful for. Every day I wake up, put my feet on the floor, and I look around, and music is what puts the warmth in our house, and the air conditioning when we're hot, and the food in the fridge, and it's just it doesn't go unnoticed, and I won't let it go unnoticed.
Where do you see yourself going here in the near future?
I love touring. I would like to go out and perform these songs, to more audiences. I would like them to see a different side of me, which some of the new releases is a different side. And then I would just like to get back in the studio and continue releasing my life's work, kind of speaking a little bit more in the songs, and just I'm a big anti-bully advocate, anti-suicide advocate. I'm just trying to make a song or a group of songs that makes people feel better. Now, that isn't always, it's not going to be always so hopeful and religious. It could be to an adult to get the hell out of your house and go have the time of your life.
Sure.
It's just, to me, it's just a little bit more about wellness. And so that's kind of my goal. And if that takes me a little bit of time to align all that, that's fine. I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm just enjoying it, enjoying the ride, as they say.
Absolutely, as you should. And you got that good head on your shoulders, and you're doing really important things, and you're touching on things that some people just kind of shy away from, being anti-bully, being anti-suicide, and actually doing something about it.
Thank you.
That's fantastic, man.
I'm definitely trying. I started speaking at some high schools before COVID, and I hope to get back at that. And it's just about supporting your brother, supporting your sister, and man, have a great future. There is no reason to wake up pissed off, upset. Life changes like that, and just be the best.
Tomorrow's a brand new day.
Dude, be the best version of you. It's totally possible.
Absolutely. Man, that's heavy, and I love it in such a good way. Such a good way. Man, well, we're coming down to the end here, and usually what we do at the end is it's rapid fire kind of stuff, okay? So right off the top of your head, I'm just going to ask you, you just go. You just go with it. Don't even think about it. You just go. All right? Yeah. All right. Top 3 singers.
Greg Allman, Steven Tyler, and Chris Cornell.
Top 3 guitar players.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, Joel Hoekstra, Jimi Hendrix.
Wow. Cool list. Top 3 records.
Jimi Hendrix. Are You Experienced, Euphoria Morning.
There we go. About.
And the last one will probably be Frampton Comes Alive.
Oh, good call, man. All right. And the last one is this. If there's one song that you wish you wrote, what would it be?
Oh, shoot. I would probably say Dream On. Did Aerosmith write that whole song? Or was that?
I think so, man. I think so. I think it was Tyler just saying, like, I want to do something in this key because nobody does it in this key, and I want it to be minor and just moody. And yeah.
You just hit the nail on the head. It was moody. It was just like you're sitting in a car while it's raining and you're depressed and the stoplight's not turning green, and all of a sudden you hear those chords and you're like, shit, man, I can hang here all day.
Ah, dude, totally. Man, so where can people find you?
Go to BrandonGibbsMusic.com, and we got merch. We have a little clothing line there. We have tour dates that we're building, and most importantly, we have songs. You can find us on Spotify. You can stream us there. I do a lot of funny YouTube stuff, some quirky stuff. I love comedy. You can go to YouTube, but Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. And then, of course, there's a link on our BrandonGibbsMusic.com where you can email us directly, and we always try and get back. Facebook, Brandon Gibbs. Instagram, DGibbsMusic.
Well, there you go. You guys got to check it out. And, of course, his collaborations are fantastic with some of the, just best and baddest. But as a solo performer, man, as a writer, as a guitar player, this guy is the real deal. And he has it all. And obviously, after this little interview, you can kind of tell that, this guy has his head together, man. He's got a good head on his shoulders. So there you go, man. I appreciate you doing this interview, my bro.
Hey, man, sorry for the little hiccups, but God bless you, John.
One is in the can. I want to thank my special guest this week, Brandon Gibbs. And didn't I tell you that his whole life, it's kind of like a movie? Growing up in small town Iowa and having the big rock and roll dreams, and then those dreams just coming true. Man, it's a movie. Somebody needs to make a movie about Brandon Gibbs' life, man. That's all there is. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. Anyway, go check out his music. Go check him out live. You guys won't be disappointed. And, I mean, he's just a damn good dude, man. He's a really, really good guy. I also urge you guys to go check out my website. I'm a good guy, too, man. www.kenvaldez.com. Over there, you can find out about my music.